Okay, welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about precision in the positioning of the aircraft in the pattern. The reason is if you're going to be flying with more than just by yourself, your position in the pattern has to be known and understood by everybody else flying. So flying a proper pattern is what I'm going to try to teach. So I've already checked the aircraft. Those trees are fairly close. If you pan out toward that way, you'll see a hay field over there. And this is obviously the first time I've flown at this field for this aircraft. And so those trees are real far away, and we've got a big hay field to fly over. If it loses it in the hay field, it might be tough to find. But I'm going to take off right to left toward those set of trees to my left, and then do a box pattern out, and then the downwind will be down there, and I'll come back here and come back in. So throttle is armed, I'm in low rates and intermediate mode, and we're good to go. Well, we've got a 5 to 10 knot wind today, and I think I'll just move this out here on the runway. I'll have a different video at some point about taxiing in winds, and that's really tricky. So sometimes you don't taxi in the wind, you just put it out there. All right, so here we go. Okay, throttle is set to 50%. Not going to get too close to those trees. There's a cone down there that I'm going to use at the far end of the runway down there, that I'm going to use as my turn point for turning to downwind. Okay, so you want to fly parallel to the runway on downwind, and you're going to do a 180-degree turn. I'm going to do a low approach. Not land, I'm going to just do a low approach, pulling my power back, coming down, coming down, coming down. You can see the wind holding me up. I'm flying real slow. Put the power back to 50% and get out here and start my turn. So if you turn on downwind and you don't parallel it like that, you're flying away from the field, and you go, uh-oh, I got to correct back. So, and you get down to here and you turn and you stop. Oh, I got to go further. So your precision in this pattern has to do with how well you control your turns, and are they truly a 180-degree turn. So I'm going to do a 180-degree turn, roll out, and immediately check if I'm parallel. Nope, I'm not parallel. I'm going to come this way 5 or 10 degrees. So you're constantly using your ailerons here to adjust your ground track for the wind, because the wind may blow you off. So you're constantly adjusting your ground track to keep a precision position over the runway. Okay. I'm going to fly a little lower this time around because the winds are a little higher at altitude. So I'm going to stay low and try to do a touch and go. Pull the power to idle here. I'm ready to put the power back in if I need to, because the aircraft is fairly slow, and I am going to add a little bit of power. I added about 10% of power, okay, just to make it to the runway. And you can see as it slowed down there that the wind was what I call weather vaning. It was weather vaning into the wind because I've got a quartering wind from the left, so it's not coming down the runway, but it's coming across the runway from left to right. So we'll go ahead and take off from here. Start out about 80% power, pull it back to about 50% power, and continue flying down to my turn point there, and then turn. And then I'm going to turn downwind, and again check my I'm too coming toward the runway, got to turn back. That's paralleling the runway now. And I'm going to turn and try to come straight down the middle of the runway. And if the wind blows me off, I have to correct. So the wind is coming from my left side, so I'm sort of angling that way to fly a straight pattern. This time, after the first landing, I realized we're going to have to carry some power on the landing. So here we go. I'm going to do a landing, turn, leave the power in, get all the way around. Now pull it to idle and back up 10 to 20%. So it's idle and then back up, so it's still spinning, and then you get a better landing out of it. Okay. All right. So now that I'm that far down the runway, I'm going to go ahead and take off from there, but do a very quick turn afterwards. So here we go. Using 100% power to take off, just get in the air quicker and then do my turn. Remember, when you use 100% power for takeoff, you're going to waste a lot of battery time. I only use 80% power to take off. Okay, again, a precise 180-degree turn, lining up straight on the runway. Going straight through, going down the runway. If you notice the field out here, the runway can really be anywhere I want it to be because all this grass out here is mowed, where I'm standing is taller grass for parking and where the pilots stand. So I could land actually in any direction. But this is about being precise in your turns. Okay, I did a stronger turn there, so I got slightly off the center of the runway. I'm going to correct back. I'm going to sort of demo the same thing here. I'm going to do a very quick turn, and that's too close. You're going to fly almost down the runway, so I got to get back out here, because if somebody's flying behind you, you don't want to be coming down the runway in the wrong direction. Okay, now we're going to come back and line up on the runway. Pull the power back a little bit to idle and back up to 20%. And then idle. Okay. Touch and go. All right, one final trip around, we'll call this video complete. So when you're on downwind, you're constantly waggling your wings like this to get the position you want. And remember, the position out here, you can't be that far out and expect to make a turn to final. So to make the turn to final, I'm going to shallow my bank and then steepen it to get out to the beginning of the runway. Let me demonstrate that again. So if you're not at the right position out here and you're just going out in the wrong direction, you may have to do 2 90-degree turns to get back to the runway. Okay? Instead of doing a 180-degree turn. And that may happen because the wind right now is from the west and it's blowing me away from the runway. Okay? And we're going to land. Okay, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.